Hi, my name is Kyle Webster. I play for Team Westside Discs, and this is my In the Bag. First, I'm going to go ahead and start with the putters. I really enjoy throwing putters, so I tend to carry a stack of overstable putters. First, I'm going to start with my HARPs. I'd say the HARP is probably one of the most overstable and most popular putters in the disc golf world. First off, my favorite one to throw would be the BT Soft HARP. I've had this HARP in my bag since the beginning of the season. I tend to add a brand new BT Soft HARP to the bag every year. Get something nice and new and overstable, some fresh plastic, something to start the year off right. And I really enjoy this mold because, one, it's overstable, it's turn resistant, it feels great in the hand, and that soft plastic is really nice when it comes in on the ground. It's really grippy, it's really grabby. I don't get much action with it. So that's why I really like the BT Soft HARP. It's a staple in my bag. If I'm throwing an upshot, you're probably gonna see me throwing this disc. Moving on, another overstable HARP, the VIP HARP. Now this one and my soft HARP, they're pretty much interchangeable when it comes to stability. Shot shapes, the same lines, the same amount of torque I put on these discs, it's pretty much the same. The difference between the soft HARP and this VIP HARP is, one, I really like to flick the VIP because I don't get much action coming out of the hand with that softer plastic. With the softer plastic, I get a little bit more action, but with this VIP HARP, I really don't get much at all. And whenever I'm coming in on the green, if I want to skip, if I want a little bit of action, a little bit of redirection, I'm going to be throwing this kind of disc, VIP plastic, because it gets a lot of skip. It's a smoother edge, hard plastic. I really like that for that type of throw. You'll even see me throwing it up in the air high. both the soft and the VIP get thrown up in the air high. They both come in hard on the nose. It's just this one might give me a little bit more action. And my last HARP in the bag would be a Hand-Eye Supply BT Hard HARP. And still overstable, still turn resistant, but with the hard plastic, they'll get it a little bit beat in. It definitely has a much straighter, I'd say softer finish than the VIP or the soft. I tend to pull this disc out on like tight gaps where I have to hit a gap and I need to just hold like a straight line with no movement left or right. It can take a lot of torque. If you see me throwing a tunnel type shot with a low ceiling that I have to throw it hard, I'm probably gonna throw this BT Hard HARP. Great disc. Okay, moving on to another throwing putter, I have the BT Medium Shield. And the BT Medium Shield is one of the discs that went in my bag right away, right when I made the switch to Westside discs, and it's just a great throwing putter. Great plastic, great feel in the hand. It's firm, but it has a nice grip to it, which I really like. So there's a lot of confidence in it when I'm throwing it with a fan grip or a power grip. Throwing wise, flight wise, it's a pretty straight turn resistant putter. If I throw it really, really hard on a slight hyzer angle, it pretty much always just snaps up flat and flies straight. It might give me a little track the older the shield is, but it tends to just be my dead straight throwing putter up to 300 feet. I can back off of it and still get a nice straight flight with a nice soft, consistent fade. It's a great putter. A hole that comes to mind that I love throwing the shield on is the USDGC Clown Mouth hole. It's a triple Mando. You gotta carry very straight and finish straight, and it's slightly downhill. And with this shield, I get the exact flight that I want out of it. It snaps the flat, slightly downhill, so it carries straight and it finishes straight. So if you're looking for a nice straight throwing putter, pick yourself up a BT Medium Shield. Okay, now let's move on to the putter pouch that I have on this cart here. And I'm carrying 3 putters up here in this pouch. It's really roomy. First, I'm gonna go with my neutral putter, my straight putter, my understable putter. It's the Trilogy Challenge Maiden in the ORIGIO Burst plastic. The ORIGIO Burst Maiden, very straight, a nice stiff plastic with a little bit of grip to it. It feels really nice in the hand being shallow. There's not much to grab onto the fingers. It's really comfortable in the hand. I can see this being useful for newer players or with players with smaller hands, with it being shallow and having a very small bead. I like this putter for like uphill type shots. putting and throwing alike. There's a lot of glide. It's very neutral, it's very straight, and it's very easy to throw. I feel like it's going to be a hit at the Trilogy Challenges this year with a lot of players. Just like the Judge was very popular in the Trilogy family, I feel like this putter is going to be a hit for all players. Okay, now we're on to my main putting putter, the BT Hard Shield. I've switched back and forth between putters, between the Dagger and the Shield since I made the switch to Westside discs, and both putters being great overstable putters, but I always end up finding myself throwing the Shield when it comes down to it. It's overstable. It's a very point and shoot type putter. It doesn't have a whole lot of glide, so I feel like if I pick a spot and I throw right at it, this disc is going to carry straight to it and give me a nice, consistent, predictable fade every time. I also like throwing this putter for up shots, for jump putts. It's really predictable, and like I said, it doesn't have a whole ton of glide, so as long as I pick a spot and I'm throwing right at it, I can trust that this putter is going to go right to it. Doesn't turn over on me, doesn't fight hard on a fade. It's straight with consistent fade every time. Very similar flight to the BT Medium Shield. I just prefer putting a harder plastic. I like the way it hits the chains. I like the way it sounds when it hits the chains. So really happy with the BT Hard Shield. Okay, let's move up in speed. Let's go to the mid-ranges. And first, let's start with the beef. And whenever I'm talking about the beef, we all know that I'm referring to the LUCID Justice, the most overstable mid-range I've ever thrown personally. And this specific one right here is probably the most overstable one I have ever thrown. It's an early run one. It's a nice, like I say, translucent style plastic. It's got a gummy type feel, but it's stiff, it's lucid, and it just feels beefy in the hand. The hole I'm sitting on in particular, this hole at Peter Pan, I will throw this disc off this tee every time, and I'll throw it right up the water, knowing that it's not gonna flip over, it's not even gonna give me any turn, and it's always just gonna be ready to rip back to that dry land and give me an opportunity to make a putt on this hole. This disc is so overstable. I use it for spike hyzers, backhand, sidearm, flex shots, skip shots. It does it all. It's called a utility disc for me. And if you don't have a Justice, get yourself one and experience the Justice. Okay, now for a new one. The VIP ANVIL from Westside discs. Another beefy disc, similar to the Justice, but you can get a little bit more done with this disc. There's some glide in this disc that I'm really liking, and I'm noticing that I can get some nice shot shapes with it. I can put some anhyzer on it, I can even throw it high up in the air and even get it to stretch a little bit, and I can still get that hard, dumpy finish that I'm getting like with my Justice. So it's a great compliment to have. If I know I'm gonna have to work a little too hard with that Justice, I might get a little bit more skip than I want, I'm probably gonna pick up this ANVIL and give it a toss. Two great discs, and I love having this option. I used to bag a Bard, and it was a great option for that overstable mid-range, but now that I have this ANVIL, something I can throw a little bit harder, I'm bagging this, and I'm loving it so far. Okay, moving on to a little bit straighter discs. My straighter flying mids, I have first the VIP Pine. I'm rocking a small team stamp on this one. I'm really liking the way it looks with this day glow green. This disc is amazing. It came out in the Trilogy Challenge a couple years ago, and I noticed right away that I liked the stability of it. I could throw it and it would flatten out and go straight for me without getting any turn unless there was a strong wind, but it would fly straight, carry for me, and then give a nice consistent fade. Very similar flight to a Shield in the VIP or the TP plastic shields, where it's getting a nice straight flight, really predictable, no turn, good glide, and then a nice predictable fade every time. I've found myself throwing this disc more and more every day. If I need to throw a mid-range hard and I don't expect any turn, I'm throwing this Pine. If I want to have a little fade, I'm throwing this Pine. It's probably the most thrown mid in my bag. Okay, and then a step down in stability. Very straight mid, very glidey mid. And honestly, this mid surprised me the most this year out of all the discs I've thrown, and it's the VIP Sling. The Sling came out in a Trilogy Challenge, and it was in that tournament plastic or maybe even a recycled plastic, and right away I liked it, but it did beat in and get a little flippy on me, so the Sling didn't make the bag right away. But over time, I kept hearing word about the VIP sling being overstable for some players, and I thought it might be a nice straight option for me. And when I tried it out, that's exactly what I got. I found that I could throw it, and it was gonna go dead straight for me every time and finish straight for me every time. It doesn't really take any turn at all. It reminds me of my medium shields a lot. In this plastic, it goes straight, it finishes straight, and if there's a tailwind, I might get a little fade. And so right now, it's my go-to straight mid-range. I've messed with a lot of different mids in the Trilogy family, the EMAC, the Compass, the Original Truth, and all in all, I think I really have found the mid-range for me in the sling. And then if I'm looking for a flippier shot, same lines, I'm looking for a little bit more turn, a soft flat finish, I'm gonna throw my BT ORIGIO sling. Same feel in the hand, same speed, same as the VIP sling, except this one's much flippier and when it comes to stability, and I can trust that it's gonna turn for me every time we have a nice, flat, soft finish to the right. Okay, if I'm looking for a little bit more speed, a little bit more room when I'm working with my mid-ranges, I'm gonna throw my WARSHIP. And this thing doubles as a fairway driver for me as well because of how glidey and how much speed it has whenever I'm throwing it. Low ceilings, uphill, if I need to just air out a mid-range and have a nice soft finish, I'm probably gonna throw this WARSHIP. It just does not seem to know how to fly slow. It's a fast mid-range. If you're looking for something that you can throw the same as all your other mid-ranges and get a little extra distance, I say pick up a WARSHIP. It's really nice and straight and a little bit of stability in this VIP plastic. If you're looking for something with a nice hyzer flip and still get that same speed, I say try the tournament plastic. It's a great mold. And my last mid-range would be the tournament plastic TURSAS. Now this disc is crazy because of the flippiness of it, but it's very usable. I call it the trick disc. If you throw it on a hyzer, it's gonna hyzer flip. If you throw it high up in the air, it's gonna hyzer flip. If you throw it really hard and low, you might even get a roller out of it. It's a really useful disc if you're trying to lock in that hyzer game. If you're trying to learn how to throw a soft hyzer with control, maybe throwing more understable discs, this would be a great disc to try out. And if you don't have a sidearm, like a soft sidearm, like mid-ranges or putters, if you're looking for something like that, I'd say pick up a TURSAS and give that a try. It's great for all levels of players, beginners and pros alike. I think it's a really useful disc and it's worth giving a shot. Tournament plastic TURSAS. Okay, that's the mid-ranges and putters. Let's move up to the fairway drivers and drivers. Okay, first, the beefiness. We're gonna go with AHTIs. VIP AHTI with a team stamp on it. This is the fairway driver I've been looking for since I switched over to the Trilogy family. It is so overstable. It can take some torque on a flick. It can take some torque on a backhand. You can throw it up in the air on a spike hyzer, backhand, forehand, skip shots, flex shots. Basically, this is my Justice fairway driver. If I feel like I have to throw the Justice too hard, but I want that same exact flight path, I'm gonna throw the VIP AHTI. Great disc from Westside discs. If I want a little bit more stretch, but the same exact flight path, that same nose down finish, the same skip that I get, I'm gonna go with the tournament plastic AHTI. I can throw the same lines as my VIP, except I can trust that I'll get a little bit more stretch, a little bit more distance. If I'm trying to throw over the top of things, stretch it out a little bit more, I might be throwing the tournament plastic one because it makes it a little bit easier on me, but still very overstable. Okay. Let's move up to a little bit straighter disc, but we still got some stability. The FUZION FELON. And I've messed with the FELON a lot since I switched over to Trilogy, and it's just a great disc. LUCID, FUZION, BioFusion, they all fly differently. And I found that in the FUZION plastic, I get a nice straight flight, really consistent, turn resistant flight with a soft fade every time. I've messed with a lot of molds trying to find this flight, and I feel like the FUZION FELON really locks it in for me. If I'm trying to throw a nice, smooth, straight shot that I know is not gonna turn over, and I know it's gonna punch forward and hold the line and give me a nice, soft fade at the end, I know this FELON's gonna do it for me. It's gotten me a lot of birdies in the woods where I just need a nice, straight shot. I can trust it, and it's gonna do the same thing every time. Great disc. Okay, next is, I think it's gonna be the disc of the year in the OPTO Explorer. Great, great fairway driver. It is so easy to throw, I've found. It's very controllable, has a lot of glide. I like it personally for a soft hyzer release that stands up and it gives me a nice S shot every single time. I found that I can throw it on a wide open hole, 400 feet, dead straight, or I can throw it on a super tight wooded hole and get the same exact flight path, get the same result, and have that same comfort in throwing it, whether I'm in the wide open or in the woods. It feels great in the hand. It's so controllable. You can put it on an anhyzer and it'll hold flat. It's not gonna burn you. It's not gonna turn over too hard. And you can throw it on a hyzer and it's not gonna fight way left. It's just gonna stand up and fly straight. It's a great flying fairway driver. I think they really did a great job on this one. And if you don't have it in the bag, definitely try it out. Okay, now we're moving on to some flippier ones. In the hyzer flip spot, if I'm not throwing a warship, I'm probably gonna throw something a little flippier, and it's gonna be this tournament plastic hatchet. A newer disc to me, I'm still learning this one, but I have found that it is a trustworthy hyzer flipper. Really popular mold in the Westside lineup. Find a lot of people using it for wide open distance shots where they get a lot of room for an S shot. I found that this thing hyzer flips every time. If I give it a little bit of air, it'll stay in the air and hold a turn for me. Really reliable. You could even throw it on a roller if you want a little bit more stable of a roller. It's a great fairway driver, really popular Westside discs, and I'm digging it. Okay, last in the fairway lineup, I got this brand new VIP Underworld. This one's a little light in 160, which for me, it's just telling me it's guaranteed to be flippy. It's guaranteed to be my roller disc. If I throw it on a hyzer, it's gonna flip over and roll. If I throw it flat, it's gonna roll. Throw it up in the air, it's gonna roll. And that's what I want. I want that flippy roller disc, and this VIP Underworld has been a great roller for me since the day I picked it up. So if you're looking for a guaranteed roller, something that you know you can get down and get that right finish on a roll, pick up a VIP Underworld. It's a good one. Okay, last, we're on the home stretch. We're gonna talk about some drivers. And Westside just dropped a brand new driver and I'm loving it. And that would be the Warhorse. Right here I have a VIP team prototype type Warhorse, and it's the beef. It's max weight 175 and it likes to finish nose down. It's so overstable, it's turn resistant, it's got a nice grippy firm plastic, and I'm loving it. Right now, if you see me throwing this disc, you're probably gonna see me flicking it and flicking it hard. It can take a hit, it doesn't like to turn, and when it finishes, it's finishing down to the ground on its nose. Basically, point and shoot, it's a lawn dart, it's gonna fight the wind, it's gonna fight turn. If you have a trouble with turning disc over, try out a Warhorse. It won't let you turn it over. It's that good of a disc. So give it a try. I wouldn't recommend it for a shorter arm guy, for a weaker arm guy or girl, but if you have a strong arm, if you wanna really give your arms a try and see the potential of it, I'd say try this Warhorse and give it a rip. And if you're looking for a little bit more distance, but you're still wanting that same stability, that same resistance to turn, that same wind fighter, then why not pick up a lighter Warhorse? And I usually carry a light 167 to 169 Goldline stiletto, and that's what I've done every year since I switched over. I put a brand new light disc in my bag that can take a lot of hit, can go far, can fight the wind and still fade. And now that the Warhorse is out, I'm bagging a 167 VIP Warhorse. And right now it's interchangeable with my light stilettos. If I throw it as hard as I can, I get a little bit of turn out of it. It's not gonna burn ever, it's not gonna track left. It's just gonna hold a little anti-turn, go dead straight, and eventually get stable and fade hard for me. Super overstable. The light factor of it makes it awesome to throw. I can get it over the top of things. I can throw it over things, over OB, over water. I really trust this disc and I love that it's overstable. Awesome disc. Okay, now if I'm looking for something that's a little bit easier to control, get a real shot shape out of it, get something overstable, but I can still throw it far, I'm gonna throw this Burst Fusion Enforcer. I picked these up at the Glassbone Open whenever we were hunting around in the distribution center. We found this nice stack of, we call them peppermint enforcers, and man, it went right in the bag right away. Truly overstable enforcer. You get some good distance out of it, 300 to 400 feet, dead straight, no turn, and then a nice glidey finish. That's what I'm really liking about this one, is where the Warhorse, I get a nice nose down finish and it's really good for getting down to the ground. This Enforcer, I can throw it out in the air and I can get a nice glidey fade that still gets down to the ground. So a little bit more useful when I'm trying to get more glide, more distance, more air, but it's still overstable, and that's why I like it. I can even throw it on some flicks if I'm trying to get a nice S shot out of it. Okay, now I carry 3 Gladiators for my main distance driver, and I'm really loving this disc. First, I have this OPTO Sparkle Zacharias Johnson Fundraiser Gladiator. And these things are pretty overstable, and it is a Gladiator. It's a very fast disc. It feels great in the hand. It's good for hyzer flips, and it's good for throwing hard, but this particular one seems to be pretty overstable. I don't really get much turn with it at all unless I'm throwing it into a strong wind, but even at that, it's not gonna turn over and burn and, like, you know, fall out of the sky for me. I'm gonna get a lot of distance with it. And so if I'm trying to throw far, throw straight, and have a nice fade at the end, I'm gonna throw this Gladiator. It can take all the power I can give it, and it's gonna go far and it's gonna fade. Great disc, and if you wanna support Zacharias Johnson, pick up one of these bad boys. Okay, and then I carry 2 recycled Gladiators for just all out distance. This one right here being a little bit newer and being a little bit more overstable, I feel like I can throw it pretty much on any line that I want, and it's gonna do it. Tunnel shots, wide open shots, turnover shots. If I need to go left, it's gonna go left. It pretty much does it all. It's the best driver that I've had since switching over to the Trilogy family. I've been looking for one that I can just throw on hyzer flips, I can throw on anhyzers, I can throw on any line I want, and I just feel comfortable with it in my hand. And this is the disc for it, the Recycle Gladiator. If I want a little bit more distance, I want a little bit more turn, I have more room to work with, maybe I need to throw it higher and still get some turn, I'm gonna throw this more beat-in one. They're both great flyers, they're both really fast, and they just feel great in the hand. If you're trying to throw hyzer flip distance, I say pick up a Gladiator and give it a shot. Great disc. Okay, so now if I want a little bit more turn, if I'm wanting to throw that same shot shape that I'm throwing with the Gladiator, but get a nice soft finish to the right that's gonna hold right and maybe check up late at the end, then I'm throwing my VIP sword. I've had this particular sword in my bags for maybe 1.5 years now, and I'm loving it. Just for exactly what I said. I like to throw it out in the air on a hyzer, and it turns over for me, and instead of giving me a nice S shot, it kind of like holds that anhyzer and flies forward. It doesn't give me an S, it just falls forward out of the air and goes very, very straight. I really like this disc to throw up high. I like to throw it up high, I like to throw it hard, and I know it's gonna turn for me, I know it's gonna start tracking to the middle, and I know it's just gonna have a nice, soft, straight finish. If I'm looking to get some distance and I don't care to finish right at all, I'm probably gonna throw this sword. I can even throw it on nice straight rollers. Really useful disc. In the woods, I found I even like throwing it on some flick shots. It likes to take a nice hyzer flip with the flick. So really useful disc, and I think it's a really great disc by Westside Discs. The sword, it's a good one, so pick one up if you're looking for nice, easy distance. Okay, and the last disc in my bag would be my roller disc, my flippiest disc, the disc I'm throwing way up in the air to get some turn. I'm throwing quick to get on the ground to get some rolls. That'll be the VIP Queen. Another newer disc for the Westside Disc lineup came out in the past couple years, and it made my bag pretty quickly. I've messed around with a lot of understable discs, and this one keeps coming back to the bag. Really good for low line rollers. It likes to get down real quick if I throw it hard and flat. If I throw it high up in the air on a hyzer, it flips every single time and it tracks to the right. If you're a lower speed player, you might like this disc because it does not take a whole lot of power at all to get this disc to fly. I know that if I'm putting a lot of power on it, it's gonna roll over on me. And if I'm throwing it at 50% or less, I'm getting a nice, great full flight out of it. And I could really see players with lower arm speeds really enjoying this disc. But mainly for me, you're gonna see me rolling it, you're gonna see it up in the air going over the top of things, turning and holding. If I throw it high enough, I might be able to get a high S shot out of it. But mainly it's a roller disc, tailwind disc, and you don't see it that often. You might even see me throw it up in the air with a grenade line, and that's always fun. But another good disc in the VIP Queen. And all that is going inside this backpack part, dynamic disc. Let me start that over. And all that's going inside of this dynamic disc backpack cart by Zuka, and I'm putting it all in this black and gray Ranger bag. I'm fitting around 30 discs in this bag, I think 28 or so. I got the putter pouch on the top. It's really great. It's housing 3 putters. I keep my towel in it, the scorecard, my phone, whatever. I've got room for a whole bunch of minis. It's a really nice addition to the bag. Got my pencils, and then I've even added a little dirt sack on the side. So You know, I really like to put dirt on my hands before every throw. I think it's a lot easier to get a nice smooth grip rather than toweling it off. I like just dirt, I like dust. So you'll almost always see me grabbing some dirt and throw it inside that bag. A couple other goodies I have here on this side pocket, since we're gonna be going through the bag. A good thing, sunglasses for sure. It gets hot out there. I don't like to play in sunglasses, but if you ever lined up to a putt with the sun right in your eyes, it's the worst. So it's nice to have something like that just in case. Run back to the bag, throw them on, whatever. You gotta keep a couple of dollars in the bag just in case there's some metal. You know, you gotta pay up if you're in the 51 club. And then I got a box cutter. You never know, you might have to cut something on the course. That's just experience right there. Got some chapstick. If someone needs some chapstick, come find me. A nice dynamic disc sticker, you know, spread the love if someone comes and finds me. And that's about it in that pocket. So I don't really dive in there too much, but it's always nice to have those things with me when I'm on the course. And then this other side, normally where I'm gonna keep my keys or my wallet or some snacks. Right now I've got a whole bunch of these bug wipes. They're like bug spray wet wipes. I got these at a tournament ran by a Dynamic Disc team member, Smitty, Chris Smith. He was up in Manhattan, Kansas running the tournament. He had a box of those bug wipes and I grabbed every one I could because the bugs are the worst on the course around here in the Midwest, so it's always good to have. I got some Jolly Ranchers and some hot hands, just random things to have in the bag. I think about it, put it in the bag, and then I forget about it, and you never know you're gonna need it. So that's pretty much what's in my bag, guys. I'm really enjoying this bag, this cart. I added the cart this year, and I've noticed that it's helped me out with my fatigue, with me being able to last and stay focused during the rounds. It's a great addition. It looks good with that Dynamic Disc Ranger bag. And if you guys want to check out all these products, be sure to hit up dynamicdisc.com. They have all the discs that I'm throwing. They have the bag I'm carrying, all the products I'm carrying. And if you want to check out more footage like this, please hit up the Westside Disc YouTube channel and you'll get more videos to come. Thanks, guys.